Did you really think you could stand next to us? The words sliced through the air like a blade. For students stood in a line, smirking, dressed in designer shoes, luxury jackets, and entitlement. In front of them stood Alina Hart, 17, calm but visibly shaken, clutching a folder to her chest. She had arrived to attend the school's leadership candidate interviews, only to walk straight into a wall of mockery. "People like you shouldn't even try," sneered Lila Montrose, the ringleader, her arms folded like a queen guarding her throne. "Just save yourself the embarrassment and leave." Alina swallowed hard, voice low but steady. "Move, please." Lila stepped closer, eyes narrowed. "No, because you don't belong here." Her friends laughed, but Alina didn't break eye contact. She didn't step back. She raised her chin just 1 inch, enough to signal defiance without escalation. "You'll regret this," Lila whispered. "Trust me." Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's story, we want to thank you for your support, love, and kindness. We wouldn't have come this far without you. Subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue bringing you powerful stories. Your support means everything. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the story. Alina Hart was one of those students whose talent spoke louder than her presence. Quiet, brilliant, and deeply compassionate. She had a mind that could break down complex problems and a heart that wanted to fix the world. Her kindness never came from weakness, but in an elite private academy run by legacy families, where wealth equaled respect and anything outside their bubble was inferior, kindness often went unnoticed. Alina was a scholarship student, the first in her family to attend such a prestigious institution. And from day one, the privileged students made sure she never forgot that she wasn't one of them. Whispers, smirks, side looks, subtle jokes, administrative favoritism, teachers who praised the wealthy kids for half the effort she put in. And at the top of the pyramid sat Lila Montrose, daughter of the school board president, confident, adored, and cruel when she wanted to be. The incident that sparked everything. It began with an announcement. Leadership Council interviews. Friday after school. Selected candidates only. Being chosen was a big deal. Scholarship points, recognition, mentorships. To everyone's shock, Alina's name was on the list. Not because the board wanted her, but because one teacher secretly fought for her, believing the council needed true merit, not more privilege. But the moment Lila saw Alina's name, she scoffed loudly in the hallway. "This has to be a mistake." Students looked. Lila made sure they did. "She's going to embarrass the entire council," Lila continued. "I can't wait to see her fail." Her friends laughed. Even those who didn't support the cruelty stayed silent. This wasn't just teasing. It was targeted humiliation, a deliberate strategy to make Alina crumble before she even walked into the room. The locker room trap. 2 days before interviews, Alina opened her locker and froze. Someone had stuffed it with torn papers, ripped worksheets, sticky soda poured inside, and a note taped to the top. "Stay in your lane." Her hands trembled. A teacher walking by glanced at the mess, then at her, then kept walking, pretending not to see. Her friend Nora later found her cleaning up. "Alina, who did this?" "I don't want trouble," she said quietly. "I just want to focus." But Nora's voice hardened. "This isn't trouble anymore. It's cruelty." Alina didn't respond, because deep down, she already knew who was responsible. The Leadership Council interviews were scheduled as a panel assessment in the school's historic hall, the room Lila's family donated. The environment alone favored the wealthy kids. The day before interviews, Lila orchestrated one final humiliation. She called out across the cafeteria, "So, Alina, ready for tomorrow? Which leadership role are you interested in? Serving snacks? Sweeping floors?" Students laughed. Alina clenched her jaw. "I'm going for policy chair." The table erupted. "You," Lila said, covering her mouth dramatically. "You think you can lead anything here?" Then she smiled, that cold, satisfied smile bullies wear when they feel untouchable. We'll see how long that confidence lasts. But there was something they didn't know. While they tried to tear her down, Alina had been quietly working. She'd read every leadership guideline, prepared every question their interviews might ask, practiced speaking clearly, studied case studies, and built a proposal so strong that if she presented it well, it would be undeniable. She didn't have their money. She didn't have their social power. She didn't have their connections. What she did have was substance. But Lila wasn't ready to let her shine. The interview room trap. The next day, when Alina entered the hall, the panel waited inside, 6 adults, including the principal and 2 council mentors. She took a deep breath, but the moment she stepped forward, Lila accidentally bumped her shoulder. "Oh, sorry," Lila said innocently. "Didn't see you there." Her friend snickered. Alina steadied herself and waited for her turn. She held her folder close, hands slightly trembling. Finally, "Alina Hart, you may begin." But when she opened her folder, the pages were missing. All her printed materials, gone. A quiet gasp escaped her lips. Lila, standing 3 seats away, covered her smile with her hand. "Any problem?" one mentor asked. Alina inhaled slowly. "No, ma'am. I'll proceed." And she began speaking from memory. The turning point begins. Her voice wavered at first, but then something extraordinary happened. The more she spoke, the stronger she became. She explained her proposal with clarity, depth, and purpose. Ways to reduce student inequality. Methods for improving access to academic resources. Leadership structures that encourage fairness. Initiatives that support mental health and student voices. The panel leaned forward. One whispered to another. The principal scribbled notes, impressed. She finished with calm conviction. "I believe leadership should be earned through integrity, not privilege." A quiet stillness filled the room. For the first time, Lila's smirk disappeared. The moment Daniel raised his hand to silence the crowd, you could almost hear the shame crawling up everyone's skin. You stood there, your breathing thin, your palms trembling, but you did not move. You did not cry. You did not break. Instead, you looked every one of them in the eyes. Daniel cleared his throat. "Before anyone says another word, there's something you all need to know about her." A few students smirked. A few rolled their eyes. One girl whispered loudly, "Here we go. He's offending her again." But Daniel didn't look at them. He looked only at you, and his voice softened into something warm, protective, familiar. "Her name isn't even the one you think you know." The room leaned in. You all mocked her background, her clothes, her social status. But none of you know she's been hiding the very thing that would silence every single one of you. Someone from the back. "Oh, please. What is she? A princess?" Daniel exhaled. "No, she's the person whose scholarship, the scholarship you all fought for, gossiped about, and tried to sabotage, was funded by the woman who founded this school, her grandmother." A cold shock blew through the room. You could actually watch mouths fall open like dropped spoons. Daniel continued. "She wasn't here because she's poor. She wasn't here because she's average. She wasn't here by pity or mistake. She was here because her grandmother left a trust and insisted that her granddaughter attend the school anonymously so she could learn who loved her for her heart and who wanted her for her name. You could feel your pulse pounding in your ears. For years, you had kept quiet. For years, you had swallowed humiliation just to honor your grandmother's wish. But now, the truth was no longer yours to carry alone. And one more thing, Daniel said, her grandmother's estate includes full authority over donor funding, meaning you let the silence stretch, meaning she, this girl you mocked, bullied, and cornered, has a legal right to review every scholarship and every proposal tied to the school's donor programs. The room froze. It was as if every arrogant whisper, every snicker, every cruel comment they ever made to you suddenly sat heavy on their backs. Someone gulped. A chair creaked. Even the teachers at the door stepped inside, quietly, listening. And then Daniel stepped away. He left the floor to you. Your legs felt like fragile glass, but your resolve felt like steel. You inhaled and spoke. "I never wanted this to be the way the truth came out. Not like this. Not through humiliation, or revenge. But I need you to know something. You scanned the room slowly, taking in every face that had ever turned against you. I never judged any of you. Even when you judged me, a few students flinched. I hoped that if I worked hard, stayed kind, and minded my business, you would eventually see me for who I was. But you didn't. You saw the clothes. You saw what I didn't have. You saw what you thought made me weak. You swallowed. And because you believed I had no power, you did what you thought you'd get away with. The air stiffened like a wall of unseen tension. But now the truth is out, and I won't let any of you continue treating others the way you treated me. Your voice didn't shake. It didn't break. It was calm, heavy, and sharp enough to cut through every ego in the room. I have only one thing to say to all of you, you continued. This school needs a change, and it will change. Starting today. The gas that moved through the crowd felt like wind, but you weren't finished. Not even close. The principal stepped into the classroom, her expression shocked, respectful, different from the dismissive tone she usually had with you. Is this true? She asked, addressing Daniel first. Daniel nodded. All documents are with the board. She's the primary heir. The principal slowly turned toward you. Her voice trembled with the attempt to regain her usual authority. We had no idea. Daniel raised a brow. She told you all she needed financial accommodation last semester. You dismissed her. You told her to ask her parents to work harder. Remember that? The principal paled. And Daniel continued, the board is aware. They saw the emails. A wave of whispers surged like a river breaking through stone. But Daniel wasn't done. He pointed at the ringleader of your bullying, Amelia, the polished, wealthy girl who once laughed until she cried because your bag wasn't branded. Amelia, you schemed to get her suspended last year. You spread rumors. You told students she was dirty, poor, beneath everyone here. Amelia shot up from her chair. That's not true. People exaggerate. Your messages were screenshot, Daniel replied coolly. They were forwarded to the school board this morning. Every drop of color drained from Amelia's face. And you, Daniel said, turning to her two closest friends, organized a fake fundraiser to embarrass her, encouraging students to donate to help her look human. Guilty silence. And you, Daniel pointed to a boy at the back, tripped her on the stairs and laughed as she bled. He stiffened, fingers frozen on his desk. And several of you, Daniel continued, sweeping the room, mocked her in group chats, in hallways, and even during class, thinking no one was watching. He paused, but karma saw it all. You swallowed, watching the room shrink into shame. Daniel stepped back and nodded at you. It's your decision what happens next. Your heart throbbed. Every eye in the room stared at you, the girl they once treated like shadows and dust. You raised your chin. I won't ruin your futures, you began softly. A breath of relief moved through the room. But I also won't protect your pride. Relief evaporated instantly. Today, you said, every teacher, every student, and every board member will receive a full, detailed report of how you treated me, with screenshots, statements, and names. Mouths dropped. Hands trembled. A few students started to cry. And you will all attend a mandatory rehabilitation and accountability workshop, the same one they send students to for racial or class discrimination. Someone whispered, horrified, that goes on our record. You nodded. It does. Amelia looked like the world had caved in on her. But that's not even the real consequence, you continued. A trembling silence fell. The real consequence is that now you know who you are, and everyone else will too. Some students buried their faces in their hands. Some stared at you in disbelief, and some simply stopped breathing. After the meeting, the principal asked to speak with you privately, not with her usual sternness, not with her cold, dismissive tone, but with something unfamiliar. Humility. Your grandmother meant the world to this school, she said quietly. I treated you in ways that were beneath my office, and I accept any disciplinary action the board chooses. You nodded, but did not soften. You judge me, you said gently. Before you even knew me, She lowered her eyes. I did. And you let others do the same. She nodded again. I did. Then she surprised you. I would like you to join the student advisory board. We need someone who understands what it feels like to be marginalized here. And frankly, someone with your integrity. Your chest tightened with something warm, something healing. You don't have to answer now, she added, but the school needs your voice. You left her office with your heart lighter than you expected, not because the truth had finally surfaced, but because you learned something about yourself. Your dignity was never tied to their approval. Your worth was never dependent on their acceptance. And your strength did not come from the truth. They came from how long you survived without it. In the weeks that followed, the atmosphere around the school shifted. The students who once mocked her learned to measure their words. The ringleaders, now exposed for their cruelty, faced the quiet consequences of truth. Teachers watching them more closely, peers questioning their intentions, and the shine of their old popularity fading day by day. Classrooms that once felt hostile began to soften. People greeted her with a respect that had long been overdue. No dramatic apologies, no sudden friendships. Just a gradual recognition that she had stood in the face of humiliation and refused to be broken. Her composure became a quiet lesson. Her strength rewrote the narrative, and her dignity forced everyone around her to confront the parts of themselves they preferred to ignore. She continued with her studies, focused and determined. She joined new programs, built healthier circles, and embraced opportunities that once seemed out of reach. Instead of shrinking from the world that tried to belittle her, she stepped forward with a confidence born from surviving what others thought would destroy her. And in that transformation, a new truth settled over the school. Humiliation may begin with cruelty, but it ends with clarity. And the people who try to break others often reveal their own fractures first. Her story spread quietly, not through gossip, but through the undeniable shift in how students treated one another. It became a subtle reminder that arrogance has a short life, but integrity lasts far longer. When people judge or belittle others, they expose more about themselves than about the person they target. But when someone faces cruelty with patience, courage, and self-respect, they become a mirror that forces the world to rethink its own values. Carry yourself with dignity. Grow in silence. Stand firm in your truth. Life has a way of rewarding those who rise above humiliation, not with loud victories, but with quiet, lasting transformation. Respect outlives ridicule. Character outshines cruelty. And the truth, no matter how long it takes, always reveals everyone.